I used to always refer to that as you bowed my shit.
You bowed my shit.
Bogged.
Bogged.
Booged? Is it booged or bogged?
Bogged. Oh, like as in bogus.
Yeah, you bogged my shit.
Yeah,
you never said that?
Yeah, right.
Well.
No, I never said that before in my life. Not once.
Do we live in the same fucking state? Have the same friends at all?
Not in the same state of mind.
Minor Disturbance Radio, episode 28. I'm Brian Minor. We got Travis Williams here, like always, and we're gonna have a lot of fun today.
Oh, we are.
On this episode because a lot of shit has gone down since the last episode.
That's true.
One of which was this episode got really popular, I guess due to the discussion about local bands. And as soon as you say in the description of a podcast, Brian says he don't give a shit about local bands or something like that, then people are going to probably want to, they're like, I knew it, that fucker's going to lose his shit on the podcast and he's going to say something stupid.
Yep.
But as you all know, it's not that I don't care about local bands. I just don't. I guess what I'm saying is, listen, we're all trying to get successful at what we do. And my point with the whole thing, it seems like, was just because it's from here doesn't mean that we have to like it or spend our money on it. That's stupid.
Well, that's
right?
what I gathered from it. That's what I gathered from what you were saying.
Okay.
Now, it took a little bit of interrogation in order for me to figure that out about what you were saying, because the first words out of your mouth sounded like you just didn't give a fuck about anything. Good, bad, whatever.
Nope. I like I said, saying, hey, it's a local band, so we have to go support them on a Thursday night. Hey, I got kids, man. I ain't got fucking time to go spend my $5, get drunk, waiting until midnight for your band to finally play. I'm not 12 anymore, I don't have time. Well, 12-year-olds can't do that either, but no. I'm not 20 anymore. I don't have time for that. And just because you're saying we're from the Quad City, so you have to come support the scene. Listen, I'll support the guys that are kicking ass, obviously, because I like them.
Yeah.
So.
I think you struck a chord with the idea of a rock show. The idea of the show. I think that's really what that was, to me, that was the big takeaway from it.
Yeah, I just thought of something. It reminded me of kind of what I'm talking about. And that is, just because you have friends that you can get together in the same room and one of them can beat on these drums and kind of keep time a little. And then all of a sudden you got a guitar player that could figure out 3 or 4 chords. And you got a bass player that can stay in time. And then you got some guy that can yell real loud, so he's a singer, right? You get these buddies together like, man, we got a band. We're a local band, too.
Yeah, right.
Them fuckers ain't supporting our ass because we're a local fucking band. How come they're not here Tuesday night, man? That's, because you're not a good band.
Right.
Just because you can get the guys together and kind of have all the elements that are involved in making music, you can't expect everybody to, oh, my God, there's a new band. We have to go love them because they're local.
But what about, some of this is just straight up regular good old-fashioned delusions of grandeur, people who...
Well, it reminded me of when I used to go see the amateur fights, okay? And you don't want to see, because I've seen this plenty of times where they introduce the fighters that are going to fight in these amateur fights, and the one dude comes out and he's still got his jeans on,
Right.
His shirt's off, getting in there ready to fight. And I'm thinking, that doesn't make any sense.
Jeans.
Yeah.
That's going to be troublesome.
I could tell you're a very high-level elite fighter.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is what you know is going to happen. He's going to start doing some Jean-Claude Van Damme high kicks in those jeans. And
anybody that knows shit about shit is going to be like, well, he ain't going to kick me.
No, he ain't going to be kicking nobody. Straight away, you'll be able to figure that out. But it is the same kind of thing. But yeah, as far as that's concerned,
I'll tell you exactly what did actually happen. Yeah. And that was they went out to the center. They started punching from about here like this. Whap, 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 close their eyes and just start swinging each other until they were completely gassed. And then the one in the jeans threw up.
Yeah.
And gave up.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
He actually vomited.
Yeah. You have no idea, man.
Now that I would pay to see. Now, to me, that's entertainment. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about a show, though. Not all shows have the kind of choreography that's deliberate. That's not to say certain things don't happen at certain times for certain reasons, but let's just say that they happen, but they aren't in anybody's control.
Yeah.
I would go and see somebody vomit after gassing themselves out.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
But
that'd be awesome.
I love 1152. I've been a fan of them ever since I actually took the time to listen to their CD.
I think you've made that clear.
And digest everything that was really happening there. And it's not just because they're a local band. I'm telling you, if I would have heard them and they were from Cedar Rapids or whatever, if I'd have taken the time to actually listen to it 2 or 3 times,
That is kind of the hard part.
That's the key, though.
That is kind of the hard part.
That would be the key. I don't know these dudes, so why would I listen to their shit?
Yeah.
But I know these guys, so I took the time. But thank God I did, because it's really good. And I went and saw them opening for Three Is Hollow up there at Rascals 2 weeks ago. And, man, they fucking kill. They killed it. They
did, huh?
They are so tight, man. And you can tell a band that's been, you know, they rehearse two, maybe 3 times a week, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, because they all have jobs too and all that.
Sure.
But still, a band that's, you know, they all have jobs and families and all that stuff, to still get 2 or 3 practices in a week.
So what is what is the show when you go see 1152? What is the show?
I was watching them intently, and I these guys aren't winger. You know,
that's what I mean. Is like sometimes the show is that it is somebody who's not overtly putting on a show. Sometimes that is the show. That's the everyman show. That's the show that you go and see it, and you don't feel like they're trying to put on airs or things like that. I mean, you always walk a fine line whenever you try to plan out elements of going from having a good plan to having something that, when executed, is just cheesy.
Yeah,
like,
and
it just looks bad.
It didn't look cheesy at all. And I like, Dusty's got some staple moves that he does on stage. I don't know if he's done this in other bands too, but when he kicks into a groove, the leg goes up and he stomps down, and you know, that stuff I like to see.
Sure.
And sorry if I'm being, you know, I noticed that, and I'm going to point that out, but that's a stage move, and that's a mannerism that I dig.
Right.
You know, when they go to kick into stuff, I like to see them jump into it.
Yeah, I've seen him do that move many times, you know, and it is kind of a trademark Dusty move. He would always do that move, and I would always like drop down to like a half knee stance, you know, where I was just like hung, you know, slung the Les Paul between my legs like a scrotum. Yeah. You know, trying to get it as close to the ground as I could. And that was like when I felt heavy, you know. And so that's usually, we would usually bust into our moves about the same time when we were doing the Marianas thing. And so I've seen that move many times.
Oh, goddamn. So you guys were like winger then?
Pretty much, man.
All right, so
we put tape on the stage, so I was like, okay, I'm going to do my move
right here.
And
right here. Don't step on this part of the stage.
And then we'll look at each other longingly. And then...
But I was very impressed with the turnout of the show. First of all, cover music is dying, and the original music is starting to come to the top again.
That's right.
I haven't seen more of a draw. I mean, I've seen more of a draw with original bands lately than I've seen in the cover scene. And it's kind of, it makes me mad because I'm not in it anymore. And it always seemed like the cover scene was always the retirement home that you could go to get your fix of feeling like you're special.
They're pulling the rug out from under you every place you fucking turn, Brian.
Yeah, you know, now that I'm done with the whole doing original stuff.
Right, now it's big.
Now my retirement home, I don't have my Social Security.
Exactly, you know what I mean? You're a post-baby boomer.
Right. And now the original scene's hitting hard. And I went and saw that show and immediately left and thought, fuck it, I'm going to do another record. I got to show these people that I'm still viable, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got thinking about what you were saying. Actually, it hit me. I was down in the dressing room just this last weekend when Dive Bomb was playing at Rascals, and I was down in the dressing room, and I just couldn't get into that. I couldn't get into the groove, man. Yeah. I couldn't find myself. The time we played before that last month, because we only play once a month. We just, you know, like I say, we're older now, and we just kind of get our rocks off. The month before, I just tuned right in, and I was like, wanted to be on stage. I couldn't wait to go sing. Was looking forward to it, and was, you know, living the moment, and like, this is fun. This is what I love to do. This last time I was down the dressing room, I really wanted to just go home. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really feel like being there, and I didn't feel like it was important for me to do what am I trying to prove this to anybody that can sing, that I can sing, or you know, stay Brian Miner on. And I was just like, man, maybe this is just a thing of the past for you, Brian, and you're just having a hard time letting it go. You know, you could look at it that way, but I mean, my feeling is that it's more of a choice of context. You know, it's not about whether or not your public, you know, stage persona is, you know, a thing of the past, but more about whether or not you're doing it in a way that makes sense to you and is actually capable of consistently satisfying you. And I mean, and either way, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because on the one hand, the cover band thing, I mean, historically, and you were just saying this, it has been proven to be more of a consistent winner with the audiences. You know, they used to be. They used to be, yeah. I mean, fuck. I remember when I was doing the Drop Hammer gig, I was playing to, we were lucky to have 50 people when we were starting out,
Right.
That was a good night. You're like, damn, we get 50 people paid to get in here and see us. Wow. That's awesome. And then you come the next night and whatever cover band had 250 people there.
Well, what if what is happening is that people, because of how available all the, greatest hits are, of all time, it used to be that some of those songs, if they weren't playing them on the X or whatever, you'd go out on the weekend and you could see a band play that song. You could dance to it with your girl and all this kind of stuff. But I think maybe the MP3 revolution is really starting to kick the ass of the cover band, and people are more in line with finding and uncovering new stuff, discovering new things, and that's really kind of becoming more interesting to people in general. We've heard that song, Brown Eyed Girl. We've heard it.
Trust me when I say this. It looks like it's fun, but when you find yourself in a cover band again, you're going to find yourself in a fucking cover band again.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just doesn't hit the fucking mark.
Not really. I could never work hard enough at it to get it the way it was probably supposed to be, and I didn't want to. I wasn't passionate enough about note for note, and the people that I know who can do that, hey, more power to them.
Yeah.
But I always had this kind of weird notion that and this is probably going to sound terrible, but this weird notion that, like, if they were out there note for noting cover songs, it was just a big cover up for the fact that they had not figured out how to properly have sex. Like, like they had not figured out what real pleasure in music was all about, and that it was like some kind of weird stiffness in them, something in their personalities. It was some kind of rigidness.
It's the dudes that cut their fucking hair. You remember when when everybody cut their hair and they still carried around a picture of themselves. I said that before. It's like, hey, wait, I used to have long hair. Hold on.
Oh, that's a really finely produced
look at this.
Olin Mills photo of you with long fucking hair.
No, I remember it being longer. That must have been right after I trimmed it. But it was all the way down to my ass. I swear to God.
It's like, wow, you went to Olin Mills.
And they always say that to me, because here I am, I'm the long hair, and they've got to prove to me that they used to have long hair too. I used to rock too, man.
Yeah. Nice.
Look, dude, I think you look cool the way you are.
Yeah, you look really cool.
Sometimes I wish I looked like you.
Yeah. Although you could probably bring back the stonewashed jeans. Those look God. Those look pretty good.
I had an experience the other day. My wife said, hey, Brian, you're getting your hair cut at 3:30 today. I said, whatever. Huh? What was it? She said haircut? Haircut? Oh, me? Okay. All right. She said he's getting pretty raggedy looking. And I did. I'd go years without even touching it. I don't even trim it. Fuck it. Yeah. It was getting pretty ratty. So she's like, okay. And she takes me to this William Wesley. This is like a high-end like spa.
I just was looking at that building this evening.
And so here I come walking in there, my 41-year-old ass, and they're like, so, and they sit me in the chair, they wash my hair, and they're trying to make small talk with me, and I'm just like, yeah, I sing in an 80s tribute band, and that must have sounded like, to me, like I'm in a Neil Diamond tribute. No, that's great, man. And the only reason I keep my hair really is because I don't want to wear a wig.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sitting there I'm thinking while I'm washing my hair, and the things coming out of my mouth are just so stupid sounding.
Right.
I'm like, God, I am a douchebag.
And they're like, they're coming on like nurses at a retirement home. It's okay, honey. That's fine. Okay, I'm just going to take this sample down to the lab.
So, and they're trying to trim my hair, and I'm like, don't take too much of it. Like it's going to kill me.
You're right. Samson.
And then there's another part of me that was going, tell them to just cut it off.
Cut it off. Shave it. Off. Shave me bald. Let's just go for it.
What's going to happen? What would happen to Brian Miner?
Yeah, right.
Right. Because I already told everybody I'm gray. You know what I mean? I'm a gray-haired guy.
Right. Silverback.
I mean, I've never let it grow out farther than that, so I don't know. But
I think you ought to go for it, dude. I personally think that would look fucking awesome.
A short-haired, gray-haired guy?
No. Just fucking long-haired gray. Dude, you look like fucking Gandalf, man.
No.
That'd be awesome. That'd be fucking awesome, dude.
Fuck that, man.
Yes, man.
Fuck that.
Go on a quest.
Yeah. But everybody, this whole cover band against original band, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Some guy was trying to fuck with me on the internet. I get this all the time. Sometimes there's this section of people that are just never going to like me. Apparently I'm arrogant, and
you fucking
I talk down to people all the time.
All the time.
Fuck me.
I know it.
So apparently I'm this horrible person, and it's just people have this built up in their head that that's who I am. It must have been... They must have said hi to me, and I didn't say hi back or something. It's something.
Yeah, it's something.
I walk upright, and I have a good-looking wife.
Yep.
Maybe that's it.
There you go. Asshole. Instant prick. Insta prick.
I got called a wannabe, an 80s wannabe.
Well, okay, now let's parse that statement. An 80s wannabe? Okay. I knew you in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so then you were there.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? It's like
they're talking about how it came up was Rascals put up an event, right? And they said, okay, Dive Bomb's playing at Rascals. Come check these guys out and win a free keg if you have the biggest hair or whatever.
Right.
Trying to be cool. And apparently across town at the Rusty Nail was the other 80s tribute band. Naughty Naughty.
Oh.
Right? So they're playing at the Nail, and somebody got on there, and the first comment was, oh, now I don't know whether to go to the Nail and see Naughty Naughty or to go to Rascals and see Dive Bomb.
Oh, yeah, I'm torn.
And I just put laugh out loud just because, oh, yeah, that's it. Now it's the battle of,
right,
I feel like we have
but
to
of course,
meet.
But of course, they probably took it like, you fucking morons.
Well,
of course you know exactly what band to go see, the good band.
I saw the
yeah, right,
and like Naughty Naughty standing across the parking lot and Dive Bomb on the other side, and like, Tumbleweed goes by, and it's like, so. First one to play, Randy Rhoads solo and Night Train wins.
Here it goes, boom.
Night Train, Crazy Train.
No, now who does Night Train?
That would be Guns N' Roses.
That's Guns N' Roses. See, look at that. You are an 80s wannabe, man.
I am a wannabe.
Yeah.
Here, the problem is I was born in 73, so by the time it was actually the 80s, I was only 7.
Yeah, right.
But I think that was taking the place of doing what I'm doing right now and just kind of talking about this stuff.
Sure.
I would have rather have been doing this than waiting to go sing in front of people. First of all, people are too easily fucking offended in this business.
You think so?
Oh, fuck, man. When I'm fronting a band, it's like every time I front a band, somebody leaves there like completely offended by me. And it's like, is this you had to be 21 to get in here, right?
Yeah, right. So I guess I remember my first band.
Wow. So you're going to see a rock band and you're offended by the word pussy?
Yeah, right.
Or
right.
It confuses me. So I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of making a fool of myself.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go sing. I'm not going to say anything in between songs.
Yeah, that's tough. But you know what, though? That a lot of times that makes the show really boring.
I've wondered if people say, you got your typical night, okay, and you've got your different kinds of bands. One cover band's going to cover, like you said, note for note, sound for sound. They're going to have the patches in their guitar rig that emulate the effect to the T of what was in that recording.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear that band, and I've heard them kind of bands before,
sure.
and I'm like, wow,
that's amazing.
That's cool, man. Where's everybody at?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Where's everybody at? Yeah, I saw.
That looks like a lot of work. There's like 7 guys in this band.
I saw a great sounding cover band last weekend. I think they were up at Fargo, and there was like maybe 10 people there.
Who were they?
Great sounding band. It's Kip Bethel's band, and I think they're called like Riot Act or Riot
Vice Squad.
Vice Squad, Vice Squad, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I saw them. Fucking great sounding band, man. Killer vocals, killer backup vocals, and the tones coming through the system that they were running sounded great. This guitar player, I don't know who he was, but man, he was good.
Yeah, and then, like I said, then you go to the flip side. These people have that recipe. They want to nail the songs. They want to be really good at what they do, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But I wonder if the average Joe, let's just say at some dental office, the girl that checks you in and her girlfriends are going to go out that night.
Right.
Oh, God, let's go out. It's ladies' night. Come on. And they meet at the Purgatory or something.
Yeah.
If they're going to be able to tell the difference between a band like that or a band like my kind of cover band, which is just kind of playing it straight through, same sounds, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, it's all attitude, and it's binary. It's a binary system, Brian. There are no subtleties to it. It's either I like it or I don't like it. That's as far as you're gonna get, man.
And usually, if they come in when I'm talking, they're gonna not like it,
right? Because you're talking about you're saying some outlandish shit.
And I'm sure that if people that have played in bands and seen the scene and been in and out of it, you understand. We used to play. Fuck, man, every weekend. It would be like, sometimes we'd pull a Thursday if it was possible.
Shit.
A Friday and Saturday for sure.
God damn.
If it's Friday night or Saturday night and I'm not playing somewhere, fuck, something's wrong.
Right.
And that's what I was aiming for. I, had to be busy.
Yeah.
And that's how you find yourself in a band, when you're an original band to begin with.
Sure.
And you're trying to play the game of a cover band.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
That cover band's going to take over your business.
Absolutely.
And I've seen it happen to me. to my band. I've seen it. That whole thing that we used to do back in the 90s, which is, hey, man, you play covers and then you sneak your shit
originals,
in, man.
You
sneak your originals in.
Them
days are over.
That's over. And, you know, I don't think it was ever a good idea in the first place. I had been in a few bands that either did that and thought it sucked, or was in it and somebody had, you know, I think this is a really good idea. And I was like, yeah, no, that's a terrible idea. We should never do that. And I was never in with that at all. Because to me, that's just all pollution, man. That's just a bunch of dilution and pollution. Shit that takes the emphasis off of what you're trying to do, shows the chinks in the armor, you know what I mean? I
fell victim to it, I know that.
Yep.
I think the people that are watching this podcast now are kind of getting into the local talking band shop stuff and just how, you know, because we all have that experience of playing in bands and the whole letdown of it or the high of it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like a heroin, man. You get that fix. And what I got thinking about was one key thing that's overlooked in bands in general that I've noticed is, you know, you get your band going and you're like, man, fuck, we got a good drummer, we got a good singer, we got some good songs and all this shit. And the only thing that you don't realize is, like, what kind of women are around your band? What kind of wife does your drummer have?
Right.
What, you know, is she gonna fucking hate you?
You're right.
Does she have this hidden agenda as far as like, I got to get him done doing this shit. This is getting him too much attention. And it seems like women and around bands just fucking.
It has to do with.
Can kill the bands.
It can kill the band. It's a law. It's actually a simple law of relationships, and it goes like this. Nobody likes to be second banana. Nobody likes to be second banana. And being in a band is being in a committed relationship. Being in a band, I'll say it again, being in a band is being in a committed relationship. So if you are in 2 committed relationships, there's going to be a hierarchy of commitment. And when those are confused and one overtakes the other.
We all know if we've ever been in a band and had a girlfriend or wife, you know that the day's coming where they're going to make you choose.
Or your band will. It's
right.
Nobody likes to be second banana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whoever it is that's taking second fiddle, they're fucking pissed. What? You're not coming out on tour with us because why?
I didn't know how to handle that at first when I was young and very motivated.
Hungry.
I didn't know how to take a wife telling me, like, you know, he don't have to, or whatever they're saying. You guys should be doing this and this and this.
Right.
I didn't know how to react to that.
Manage
so I
your
just
wife.
said, you're not in this band, shut the fuck up. And I'm not saying that to try to act cool.
No.
That's exactly what I said.
That's actually not a good strategy.
I would say, hey, bitch, are you in this band? No. Is he? Yeah. So shut up. And that's how I was. And and no wonder they...
Yeah, dude, that is not a good strategy.
But I was behind that. I was like, fuck you, bitch.
Right.
You're not, you know, you're going to be here for a while.
Right.
And then you're going to hit the bricks later anyway. Yep. And right now you're trying to fucking brainwash him into...
Nah. Well, you're trying to be his main relationship.
Yeah.
When this is his main relationship. I mean, at that point, essentially, really, you know, you are very, very much in a situation where you're in a love triangle with somebody, and it sucks because you don't feel like, you know, that way in a way, but you know, you're basically struggling with somebody in the middle, trying to pull them back, and then somebody else is pulling the other way, and then you're stuck in this fucking tug of war.
Yeah.
And that really sucks, man.
I'm sure that everybody that's been in a band has witnessed that or been part of it.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, because I've always been the guy that my girlfriend's always with me, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's like, for some reason, I've always fallen into that situation where I'm the dude that's like, well, if you ask Brian, he's going to bring his girlfriend. You know? Why? Well, because I've already like hunted my gazelle, and I have this carcass of meat in my cave. You're lucky I'm even leaving my cave.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I've made my kill.
It's the price of admission.
You guys are still hunting. You know. Some of them. You know,
well, I'd say for me, it was we had band practice at my house for a while, which you know, honestly, it worked fine for me. But my guess is, in my absence, there was some very big talk going on about we gotta get the fuck out of here. you know? she keeps interrupting and fucking she's got all these annoying habits and
there's
blah,
nothing
blah, blah.
there's nothing dumber than you show up to band practice and you have to take your shoes off and you can't smoke and there's no drinking and the lights are bright.
Yeah.
And you're trying to write rock songs and you're in like their 3-year-old's playroom set up.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
dude, I went to band practice and I fucking stepped on a Lego.
Yeah, it's hard to. I think that's the only reason that Drop Hammer existed, and I'm not sure how it works with other bands, but usually it's one guy that kind of brings in some ideas, and you either need 2 or 3 other guys that are going to be just as dumb as you and think it's good,
right? Yeah,
and get behind it.
You need some supporters. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You can't have naysayers, man.
As soon as because I remember, if you guys want to go on the ride with me, I remember writing. Songs in my mom's basement, and on the 4-track or whatever, and you got them, and they sound all, and everything's horrible, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a band together, and I want to, okay, so I met this guy as a bass player, like, here's my tape, dude. All right, yeah, call me, yeah, and they take it home,
yeah, right,
and like call me and let me know what you think of it or whatever, and then. You're embarrassed. You don't know if they could be calling back like, gross, dude. This is horrible. You
awful.
Sing like a fucking gay faggot.
A gay faggot.
A gay faggot.
Yeah, right. Because nothing worse than a gay one of those.
You understand what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Boy, these you're waiting for the heartbreak. You're like, man, the riffs are cool, but your voice sucks.
Yeah, that's.
Or
I used to always take my this is a shout out to Billy Gardner. I'd always take my shit to Billy Gardner, and I'd be all like, yeah, man, this is it. I'm proud of it. And he'd be like, dude, this is really good, but we need to do something about this part right here. And I'd always be like, no, that's the best part. And he'd be like, that's terrible. That's awful.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I mean. That's already the cracks are going to show, man, because ego's already there.
Yep, I know it, man. It hurt my feelings so bad.
And I don't know how I did it when I gave the shit to Terry and Tony and them when I was putting the band together, but it probably came with a little bit of, here's my tape, and you're going to fucking like it.
Yeah, right. You're going to say a fucking word about it.
And then put because last time I let somebody hear it, they said something about it, and I smacked them.
Yeah, right. You know what I think it was with me is I'd give them the tape, and they'd be like, all right, man. And then they'd listen to it with each other when I wasn't there, and they'd be like, all right, we ain't going to say shit about how terrible this is to Travis, right? They'd be like, I know, it'll just crush him. It'll just crush his fucking dreams, and then he won't be able to play his guitar in front of us. So you just got to support his dumb songs because he's got a couple good ones. Yeah,
it's always been that way, man. Just any band that I've been in that you try to fuck around with original stuff, there's always the one guy that'll bring shit that just is horrid.
Yeah. I saw.
You bring 8 songs and they've got. You bring 8 songs and they're picking through and you get like 2 or 3 that you're going to use.
Yeah.
And he brings 1 and it has to be.
Yeah.
No, dude, we have to work on it. It's like this ain't going to work, man. This song is horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
But you can't say that.
Well, yeah, you can't.
You should.
Because he owns the PA.
You should say. he owns the bedroom you're practicing.
Right, exactly, man. You can't say shit.
Yeah, and poor drummers, most of them don't have any way of telling you what they mean. I had drummers like, can't you do like a.
Yeah,
that's
right.
All they don't know. They can't pick up the guitar and be like this, man.
Yeah.
This is the riff.
Well, I think. Speaking of Dusty Smith, I want to say like a lot of the pipe theory stuff really was like collaborations between Dusty and Lars. Like Lars had these ideas about, rhythms and stuff, and he would, sing these guitar parts to Dusty, and Dusty would translate them, and turn them into something, and so some of those pipe theory riffs, from back in the day with those two guys were direct drummer guitar player computation and translation, where you're fucking looking at each other going, do it like that, and he'd be like, like that.
I guess you could do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's how it happened.
Maybe Terry Hodges wrote all of our greatest shit.
He might have, man.
I just always wrote it off. This is way better.
Yeah. No, that's just what I told you to do, dude.
All right, whatever,
because I got this
man.
drum beat, and it's fucking slamming.
So I remember giving these tapes to people, and they exist. I'm like, as soon as I let this leave my hand, this is out in the world now. This person has it.
Right.
I did the best I could with 4 tracks.
Yeah.
A high, mid, and a low knob on each track, probably. You know what I'm talking about? Stupid-ass 4 track.
Yeah. I know exactly what it was. Mono drums, bass, mono guitar. Or actually, you know what? I was a fucking asshole. It was always mono drums, bass, stereo guitars, and then I'd sing when I did mix down.
Yeah.
I had to have stereo guitars, dude.
Oh, you'd mix? Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
When I mix it down, then I'd plug into the mixer. And
but I told you, I fuck, dude. I used to do. I thought I was the only motherfucker that figured this out. You get 2 jam boxes that have a record function.
Yeah.
And you can. Here's what you do: you press record, you play the guitar track.
Yep.
You find a way of counting 2, 3, 4, and ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Whatever song that you're thinking.
Sure.
And because what you're gonna do is solo over it.
Yep.
And then you get another jam box and you play that back, and then you play in the air and record it on this.
Right.
So now you're multi-tracking onto this one.
That's right.
By the time you get to like the 4th track, it sounds like.
Yeah. The tape noise is ridiculous at that point because it's tape noise upon tape noise upon tape, plus all the room noise,
and
plus the noise of your amp,
and the different tape speeds.
Right.
Yeah. So it was all fucked up.
Yeah. Now, did you ever get involved in trying to do the track bounce functions?
Now, see, I read about that on like page 24 of every pamphlet.
Oh, and it was always Japanese translated, and you just couldn't figure it out.
So what you got to pan everything this way,
right?
And then select this track and fuck that. I'm just gonna try to do everything on each track.
Yes, that's what you do. And every time I ever tried to do that, I either was unable to figure out how to switch the routing.
You couldn't do it?
Well, because I'm telling you, the fucking instructions were always translated Japanese into English, so it was like, turn to page 28 for much musical happiness, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like, first read this section, and then you read that section, and it tells you to read this other section, and you go back, and it tells you to read the first section. What the fuck?
I think I still have the book for my 4 tracks. I kept them I want to say it was like a Fostex.
Yeah, you had a Fostex
4-track, right? And I had the book, and I bet you I got highlighted notes in there of how to do certain shit. Yeah. And when it came to bouncing, like taking basically what they wanted to do is take track 1 and 2 and then bounce it to another track.
Yeah,
right?
Basically what you were doing is setting up the routing to make it so that the playback from the other heads was being recorded mixed to another track that is in record mode.
Never did that.
Yeah, and it doesn't work with a fuck. The only other times I ever got it to actually work, oh, dude, it was like sound on sound with jam boxes, man.
Was it?
All your high end was gone.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was just gone. Tape's totally saturated.
Well,
fucking awful.
Well, you're using a tape that's a 8-inch tape, right?
Exactly.
8 inch, and isn't because
divided by 8.
I found a 4-track master 4-track tape that I had used back then.
Right.
I was like, what is this? Because I was going through all my tapes. Because once you go to digital, nobody has tapes anymore. So I was getting all that old stuff I used to do in my bedroom.
Sure.
Turning it to digital so that I had it.
Right.
So
yeah. I did the same thing.
Yeah. Because I was doing some pretty brilliant shit when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
yeah,
man.
You probably were.
I was a driven little kid.
Yeah.
I was up there in my room all making harmonies and doing and all these things, and I wanted to keep all that.
Sure.
And so I'm duping these things over, and I found this. I put it in. What's on this? And it's because it was recorded.
Oh, at super high speed. Yeah. You go back and play it.
So now you're like, well, fuck. What am I going to do with that?
Well, I mean,
and track 1 and 2 are on one side of the tape, and 3 and 4 are on the other side of the tape.
Right. Now
backwards. So now you've got to flip it over, and the track
get it the other way, and then reverse them. Yep. Yeah. Which.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking cymbals and shit. But
I figured out on my 8-track how to do a backwards track, and I was pretty impressed with myself on that because you had to figure out where the tracks were hitting on the tape, and if you flipped it over, it'd be on track whatever.
If you could figure out inverted intervals on for harmonies, and you could figure out how to invert the. That's right.
Absolutely did it.
Track 1 becomes track 8,
and everything that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
These young kids have no fucking clue what we're talking about.
No, we had to do that. I remember when I first got my 4-track, I was in fucking heaven.
It's so much fun.
Oh,
it's so much. Here's what I got good at.
Yeah.
Because everybody used to listen to the tapes were all like, man, you put some time into programming the drums, dude.
Yeah.
Because
I did too.
I didn't just do like
right.
I was doing like and taking the time to try to do what I really wanted it to do.
Absolutely.
As much as possible.
Absolutely, man. I remember did you ever spend any amount of time hunched over the very shitty programming interface of a standalone drum machine? I'm sure you did, man. I did like I did like 3 or 4 songs using a Dr. Rhythm, a Boss Dr. Rhythm. You remember that fucking thing?
I had the SR16.
Now that was a good drum machine.
That motherfucker, I could fly around on that.
Yeah, that was a good drum machine. machine. No, this thing that I had, it had 2 time signatures. It had 3/4 and 4/4.
Oh, man.
So, but here's what was fucked up is that when you'd go back and forth between the 2 time signatures in a single song, it would like corrupt the data to make it so stuff on the little interface that showed you the dots of where the beat would be would not line up anymore. So then you'd have to like theorize how that 4/4 worked out over like a measure and a half, you know, and like you're sitting there with paper. Dude, in fact, my back still hurts. My back still hurts from being hunched over that motherfucker trying to
Once
like,
I got it figured out, I started flying, man.
Yeah, SR16.
And then when you're putting a song together, you have to, there's no way to start at the fourth measure of the song.
Right. It was
to hear it back. You had to play the song the way it is, and like, shit, I forgot to put in an extra 4 beats there to come out of the thing. And now you got to find that, put that in the song, and then let's do it back again, play the guitar. So I've played the songs already 150 times before I even track it.
But this thing's fucking great, though.
But that's the fun part of it.
That's not only the fun part of it, like during that time, even though you're not with a band, because you have to do all that, you get really fucking good at the song, man. You're really good at it.
And you also get used to playing to a drum machine.
That is true.
And your timing gets tight.
Your timing does get tight.
And
that's true.
You know, because I was constantly playing to a drum machine and a tick, 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 tick.
Dude, when you were writing your own songs on a drum machine, oh fuck, dude, you'd sit there and do that shit all night. You'd get really good at it.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, here's how it was for me. Because you're in the headphone land too.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing else. You're isolated.
Yeah.
And repeat 8 times.
Right.
And then do this. And then come into this other beat.
Right.
And you got this all programmed, and you meanwhile you're kind of playing with your guitar a little bit as you're programming. What else should I do now? What if I went? Okay, now I got on the drums. Okay, so now you're trying to syncopate all this stuff.
Right.
And then now you got your drums done. Now it's time to track the fucking song.
Oh yeah, right, dude.
Here we go.
Yep. Now you got to play your changes.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you still have not thought about anything else in your head.
Nope.
You're in fucking headphone land.
Absolutely.
And you're writing music, and that's a beautiful fucking place to be, man.
It is a beautiful fucking place to be, man.
And you're hearing you put the guitar tracks down. I always put the guitar tracks down first. I mean, I couldn't wait to track the guitars.
Yeah,
I didn't fuck with the bass first. I did the bass last.
I always did the bass last. I did too.
Yeah. So you start tracking. You get a guitar track on there, and you play it center so that you hear it in both sides.
Yeah.
And then when you do the double, pan left, hard, right,
that's when
and played with yourself on either side. Oh,
that is the moment.
That first chord strike,
because then it sounded real. That's the first moment. That's the first moment it sounds real. Like as soon as you get that double track guitar, you are in like Black Sabbath land. I mean, like it's just fucking huge.
You're like, I'm making a fucking record,
I'm
man.
making a record. And, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. And I had my 4-track, and I had it running through a BBE sonic maximizer on the outputs, man, a stereo one of those, and I had
but that sounded awesome.
I had my drums. My drums were a Sound Blaster 16 that was in a laptop I had, and fucking Cakewalk.
All right,
program with Cakewalk.
We're gonna have a early day 8-track off.
Oh
like
shit!
You bring me a track.
My 4 tracks.
You bring a track, and I'll play a track.
Right.
And they can't be very long. We'll just play a little bit of it so you can hear like the drum sounds.
All right.
And all that stuff. We poured ourselves into that.
Yeah, we did. I'll have to unearth those. Some of the I think I've got most of them. I remember. I think I might have something that Billy Gardner did the vocals on. I'll see if I can unearth that, man. Because Billy probably would be happier if that never saw the light of day. But
I just remember I was trying to write original music as soon as I had a drummer in the same room as me.
Oh yeah.
It immediately went from like, screw the Kiss songs. That was fun. But hey, check this riff out. What would you do? And you always wanted to get that going with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then for me, it was always you could never find a bass player because back when everybody was like want to be a guitar player. There was no bass players.
Well, yeah, that's what I was. I almost made that comment earlier when you were like, "Well, we had a bass player." And I'm like, no, you didn't. You had a guitar player who wasn't good enough to be in the band and owned a PA system. So
I played at the
play bass.
I played at the Trilighter with Axe and Province. I was singing and we had no bass player.
Yeah. By the way, I just realized that my bass player owns the PA system. So sorry, Chris.
Could you imagine a band playing to a PA system with probably the most buzzsaw sounding wannabe metal guitar tones and a drummer, and all we played was Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer.
That's it, dude.
Yeah, at the Trilighter here on Brady Street.
Yeah, who was in that band?
Chris Graber.
Yeah, Graber.
Mike Berry. And me at the time. And there was nobody else. We didn't have a bass player yet or a real singer.
Right. And that was before it was Axe and Province.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was called Axe and Province. From what I understand, it was Axe and Province. The band I went and played with was Axe and Province.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was at Graber. We went to Graber's house across from the school up there on. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was his basement, and we'd come over and jam.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we were working out the double leads to fucking Megadeth tunes and nailing them. You know, he had the tab out in his bedroom. He'd know what note for you to.
Yeah, because dude, no, Metallica was like the first really big tab guitar band.
Fuck man.
Dude, I remember going into Griggs and seeing they had Master of Puppets. Oh no, here's Ride the Lightning.
Here, I got a job. I got a job for you, fucking guitar players.
All right.
For Whom the Bell Tolls, there's the little double solo in there. The big down.
Right.
Big
right.
Yeah, there's two parts in there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And I remember me and Graber sitting in the basement, and I knew the main part.
Right. Yeah.
And
the descending one.
And he was showing me what the tab says that the other one does, and I was getting my first dose of like,
this ain't right.
No.
And
we had to just kind of figure it out our own.
Right. Because it does something more like
yeah, because back then the people that were doing tab were just like the same dudes that were, I don't know,
writing the manuals for the fucking 4-tracks. Exact same Japanese guys getting it wrong.
Wrong as fuck.
Yeah, right. Turn to page 35 for Much Metallica Solo Happiness.
E with rock feel.
With rock feel, right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Wow, I couldn't figure this out. And then he always had that kid that, like, everything he ever learned on the guitar, he didn't learn by actually listening to himself play. He learned by tab. Mm-hmm. So, like, he'd be, like, butchering any number of Metallica riffs. And that was early on in the day, too, man. That was like our YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, Guitar Tabs was our YouTube.
I'm telling you, I strayed away from tab. If it was in front of me, I was like, I don't need it.
Nope.
I'll listen to it and learn
it. My two things that I never wanted to mess with were tablature and capos.
Yeah, but then when nobody was looking, capos, fuck that.
Yeah, right.
What's that?
Exactly. I got an index finger. You can go fuck yourself with your capo.
Yeah. But when nobody was looking, I would take them tabs back and I would check out them, because the solo sections, if they did an arpeggiated or some super fast shred run, I want to see kind of what they thought it was and see if it.
Yep.
Yeah. Nah. I doubt he started it there, butthole.
Yeah.
He did it like this, and you've got it all super way more complicated.
That's what I mean. Sometimes the notes were right, but it just ends up being some fucking contortion of your hand that nobody could play. Right. And then you see the video, and you're like, no, that ain't right. I remember somebody tablaturized the song "Shot in the Dark" by Ozzy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Jakey Lee part.
Sure.
And they tablaturized it in standard tuning.
Whoa.
Which that song is in some weird different tuning.
Yeah, that would be fucked up.
Yeah, it was really fucked up. And, I remember, like, after I found out it was in a different... Because I had been trying to kind of play it, and it was really hard. And I remember watching the video, and I'm like, oh, so that's why Jakey Lee plays an SG in this video and not his Charvel San Dimas. It's alternate tuning, baby.
It is.
Yeah, so anyway.
It's funny how this has kind of grown into, you were a guest and then all of a sudden you were like part of the show.
Yeah. You know what I like about this episode before you go? This will take 2 seconds. I've got a camera all to myself right now. That's right. I know what you need. All trap, all night.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Taking over the show, man.
Sorry, go ahead.
But no, my hero, Joe Rogan, interviewed Paul Stanley on his podcast.
Yeah.
Just like a couple weeks ago.
I remember you were anticipating that. And
I was anticipating it, and I couldn't wait to listen to the podcast. And I love Joe Rogan. His podcasts are usually 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's really free form, completely wide open. He'll ask the crazy shit and keep keep you interested.
Well, how did it go with somebody who is really just only interested in crafted messages generally?
See, you're right with me on this. And you're interviewing somebody that's trying to sell a book.
Right.
Okay. And I know that going in, I'm thinking, no way Paul Stanley's going to come out and be Paul Stanley and just or Stanley Eisen. I'm sorry.
Right.
And be Stanley Eisen.
Right.
Eisen, or however you want to pronounce his real name.
Right.
and all of a sudden, right off the bat, I noticed it was only 2 hours long.
You're thinking to yourself, this is truncated.
Yeah, you already have an hour that's gone off of it, and
right.
And it seemed like they talked about a lot about like depression and how he came out of, you know, how he was a rock star, but he still was depressed and not happy with himself and this and that. And I was like, and they talked a lot about that. And he's talking about how his book could help you. And I'm like,
right. So it was a sales pitch for the book.
Well, there was some good stuff in there, you know, because he talked about like when you made it, how old were you? He was like, I'm 20. I was 21.
Wow.
21, and he's a millionaire and, you know, on top of the world, big rock star.
Right.
And he was talking about how that was, and he said he still was like depressed.
Yeah.
And had to go see a shrink and couldn't figure all that stuff out.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the big misconceptions about mental illness has to do with this idea that we believe that the influence that mental illness has over our behaviors still somehow comes from the events that are happening around us in our own personal outside world. And really, the mental, you know, how mental illness influences your reaction to events around you has to do with stuff that happened usually a long time ago.
He would talk about how he would sell out Madison Square Gardens, and after they were done, he'd walk off stage and, you know, maybe take a cab or something down to the deli, and sit there by himself and be by himself and just kind of trip on the idea that here I am, this huge rock star, and I'm sitting here by myself and nobody gives a shit about me.
That's right.
And, you know, a minute ago they were freaking out, but since I don't have my makeup on,
right,
and I'm just sitting here, I just look like some bum from New York with jet black hair and high heels on. You know,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
I thought that was awesome.
The same kind of thing happens for us in our own little local levels of, you know, personal stardom or whatever, however you want to call it. You know, is a lot of times there's this period. It's almost like a crisis where you realize that actually your thoughts about who you are and the thoughts that you think other people have about who you are really about someone that only has superficial qualities. It's not really you. It's not the real you. It's just how you look or what you do or what you have created, but that's not really who you are. And that's something that is extremely discomforting to find out. Really, it doesn't matter in a certain way how good the works are that I do or how good I look or how nice I am or any of that sort of stuff when it comes to how I feel about myself. All those things are really just, you know, if I try to get happy by looking at those things, it's not going to work. I mean, that's a terrifying feeling, man. That's not very comforting at all. But you can discover that there is a way to get happy, and it comes from you. It doesn't come from something else to you. It comes from you, and that's the way it works. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I'm saying that that's the basic clue about how it works. So, wow.
Thanks for all the views, and thanks for all the comments and the messages that I got and on the last episode, and we hope you enjoy the show. And this was episode 28, and we'll be back again for 29. Obviously, I'm going to do 100 of these things, and then if I haven't made 50 cents, then I'll stop doing it. But I made like 43 cents on the last episode, so
43 cents, dude. Don't spend it all in one place.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Later.